All right, it's 2 minutes after. Let's get it started. Welcome to Tableau server and add and site admin online group. I should change it online to Tableau Cloud as a new name. Today we have awesome speaker, Wong, who will talk about Tableau Messenger, how you customize the emails you receive from server. Before that, since last week was Tableau Conference 2020, that was our first in-person plus virtual after COVID. It was my first flight since 2.5 years. I had a great time connecting with so many Tableau fans at Vegas. I met so many familiar faces. For me, it's more like a reunion. I'm going to spend a few minutes, just give everyone a quick readout. What is new, focusing on server and the cloud features. And then I'll give to Albert. For better recording quality, everyone is muted, but feel free to use QA to submit your questions. At the end, we'll leave some dedicated time for your questions, but also anyone can just chat me your questions online by typing. What is new? One thing I love Tableau is continuous innovation, new features. Those are some of the new features that announced at TC last week. It's probably not a complete list, but some of the main features. I'm going to focus very quickly on the left side, Tableau Cloud and the platform new features. Tableau Cloud will introduce multi-site concept. One customer can have multi-site, more like similar as a server admin. However, the Postgres is still not there yet. I even don't know if it's feasible at all to give out the Postgres. Instead, the Tableau Cloud or Tableau Online will provide a Tableau Insight. Is a published data sources that has pretty much most of the data that available in the tables. Tableau Accelerator, that is actually available 22.1 already. It's nothing but a cache. You can set a cache for specific workbooks, and then the cache will get refreshed automatically after Extract refresh. And next month, I'll dive in more on this feature, Tableau Accelerator versus the existing cache warm-up, what difference. Publicly shared dashboards. This is for either cloud or server users, customers, where if you have a specific dashboard you want to share to anyone, maybe anyone in the company, maybe anyone in the world, even they don't need a license, how do you do so? Today you cannot, unless you go to Tableau Public. Looks like Tableau is building out, releasing a new feature, which will allow us to do this. Activity log, this is a new feature. I'm very excited. One thing about activity log is that finally we will have a permission log. Finally, we will be able to know the permission changes, when, who, what. If you're not close to this challenge, it has been years where until today, Tableau permission tables do not have a timestamp. So we cannot tell from Postgres who did what change for the permission. So this activity log is additional log in addition to existing Tableau server logs. These additional logs will be sent to S3 bucket. So you need AWS account connect to your server. And then as a server admin, you figure out how to use it. Auto scaling is another thing, fancy feature. I believe at the beginning, it will be only for backgrounders. I may be wrong. Okay, at least release one will be backgrounders. You can scale up, scale down. Number of backgrounder nodes, not the background number of backgrounders. We talk about nodes. WDC 3.0. What's new? Two things are new. WDC 3.0. Okay. One is that when you have a new WDC on the server, you don't need to restart the server anymore. Oh dear, this is a big. It has been very silly process. WDC has been very silly where you have to restart a server when deploy a new WDC. No more in the future. Second, today the WDC has to be hosted outside Tableau server, right? Someone has to have a web server host the WDC. Then Tableau server just more like a whitelist, allow WDC for a particular site. No more in the future, much simplified. Tableau server itself will host WDC. Think about that. Again, recap two things. One is Tableau server will host WDC itself. Second, of course, no more restarting when you deploy a new WDC. Love it. Long waiting feature. Data orientation pane is more like, today you already have a data details, but data orientation pane gives a lot more when you click that. Also keep changing when you go filter, whatever. On the right side, the model builder, likely with a new skill, is the predictive within Tableau using your current permission and everything. Scenario planner is more like what if. Data story, I believe, is a result of the narrative science acquisition. Actions to Salesforce workflows. It's cool things to automate Tableau further. Shared dimension, sometimes I don't understand what means shared dimension. I don't know if is the best term. Actually, what it does, if I understood it correctly, it will allow the two published data source to join in the desktop. Again, two published data sources today can be joined from prep only. Desktop, you cannot join them together. You have to blend them together. With blending, you get a primary, secondary. The secondary has many limitations. No more. You can relate them using the new relationship. Two published data sources can relate together. Actually, many can join together. That is a big deal. Table extensions, I think it's more like Python type of Py. Make it easier. You can paste the code into Tableau workbook directly. But my understanding is that you still need a separate Python server. Okay, image rule is dynamically change the URL of an image. Long waiting feature. Preps, bunch of new preps things like multi-rule calculations, and as data keep getting better. That is all what I grabbed as a new feature last week. Reading the blogs, reading more, you probably can find a lot more details. Next month, I'll try to focus on the 2022.1 new features. Do a more deep dive demo. With that, give it to Albert.
All right, thank you, Mark, for that recap. Let me share my screen. Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me. I am really excited to be part of the Tableau server admin user group. For those of you who know me, I've been active in the San Francisco Bay Area Tableau user group. But given the current conditions, I think it's nice to have a virtual channel to show you what I've been working on. So for those of you who don't know me, let me spend a few minutes kind of like getting you up to speed on who I am. So I recently joined the Tableau Professional Services org as a consultant. Recent being 1 year, but I do feel like I'm a newbie because I'm still getting used to some things at the company. Before that, I was working at Netflix for a while, where I was in charge of the reporting platform, of which included Tableau. So so while I was there, I met someone who got me into coffee roasting, and and so if you like fresh roasted coffee and you're around Sunnyvale, California, where I'm at, feel free to hit me up and we can grab a cup together. You might get to meet my family, which is who are pictured on the very left. And then before all this happened, I was on the East Coast studying computer science at Carnegie Mellon University. So with that, why don't we dive into our topic today, which is Tableau Messenger, which is something that I've been working with a client to enable them to customize messages for various reasons. Let me set you up with an overview of the scenario to give you like an idea of the motivation behind this. And let's begin with extracts. So I think most of you will probably know what extracts are, but in simple terms, it is basically the native data format for Tableau dashboards. But you can think of it that way. It's a data format that enables dashboards to be super quick because it's sort of Tableau's natural format. And it's so important that if you ever have like Tableau dashboard performance issues, the first thing you should check is to see whether you've enabled extracts, data extracts. How else you can think about this? You can kind of think about extracts as sort of a cache between a data cache between your dashboard and your like database or data source. And so if we think of it from this lens, we can think of scheduling extracts or data caches to refresh. And this is an important operation for many of the clients that I work with, as well as most of the implementations I've seen. Extracts have been critical to like the Tableau operations. So critical, in fact, that that when you have a extract failure, the message goes out to the owner saying, hey, you have a problem with your extract. We've gotten requests, a lot of requests to say, hey, I get this message, but, like, can I also broadcast this to someone else in case, like, I'm out of the office or on vacation, or, like if I need to hand it off to some other team. Now, if you're sort of like a small shop, you can like just go into your profile and update your email address to like some distribution list. And so that might work for some scenarios. For our client, we wanted to create something that was a little bit more robust, so that instead, if for some reason this extract failure email was not picked up by the owner of the data extract, then a team or some other entity could pick up this responsibility of fixing the issue. Another reason why this was important to a lot of the people that we worked with is that dashboards sort of work seamlessly regardless of whether extracts fail or not. So If an extract fails, your dashboard is still going to work. It's just looking at previous data. But we didn't want our users to be making decisions on wrong data or old data. And so this was some problem that we wanted to address. And so with that set up, let me dive into some of the solutions that we took a look at. So the first thing that we dived into was Tableau webhooks. So if you're not familiar with what a webhook is, it's basically when some event happens on Tableau server, it has the ability to act on this event and send the relevant details about the event to a custom location. Out of the box, it's in the case of the data extract refresh failure, an email goes out to the owner of the extract. But with webhooks, you can actually send this information to a custom service. And so we thought it would be great because we could develop a service customized to be able to forward this message and enrich the message with additional details and forward it to a different location. So instead of the owner, we could, in this case, message the team or a distribution list based on what the user wants. So, so with that, let's talk about how to turn on the webhook. So to do that, you would interface with the Tableau REST API. And so what you would do is you would package up a message and post the request to Tableau server. One tip I want to give you is that there's this tool called Postman, and there's actually some webhook templates. And so you can download Postman, download the templates, and then all you have to do is specify like your server location, your and whatever details you want. Press the send button, and this tool will talk to the Tableau's REST API for you. So in our case, we want to register a data source refresh extract failure webhook event. That's actually a shortened version of the actual name of the event. And then we want to, in those cases, register that event to our custom web service. So our web service was a Flask service. We're sort of like Python experts, but it could be any endpoint that you want. So whether you prefer JavaScript, Node, whatever technology, doesn't really matter. It just as long as it can take payload information sent from Tableau server, you're good to go. And with that set up, let's review like what's going on at a higher level. So with that configuration, Tableau server will, in the event of an extract failure, send all the relevant details to our custom service. And then our service will then repackage that information and send it out to a different location specified for our users. We also modify the look and feel of the message. And so here's an example of like what that could look like. In this case, it's saying, hello, Albert, you're receiving this message because at this certain time, this extract failed because of reason. And then we added some links to Tableau Messenger, which gives you a place to configure your settings, and then a contact in case you have additional follow-up questions. Okay, so that's sort of like the basic framework that we are working with. And to enable other users to leverage the service, what we did was kind of quick and dirty, but we developed a a dashboard that allowed you to select content, and it has like row level security, so you can only see like the stuff that you own or your team owns, or projects that you're in charge of. And we let you select the content, and then through URL actions, we'll send this information to like a custom service where we can save those settings. So let's say like I'm Albert, and then like I have a teammate who also goes here. We can both register for data source extract refresh failure events for the content that we've checked off. So with that in mind, we are able to support the data source refresh failed events. And if you look at the list here, these are all the supported webhook events. We can also support like embedded data sources. So workbook refresh fail events is included on this list. But one thing I noticed was that flows weren't in here. And so what can we do about flows? So I went into, looked around in the repository and found a few tables that allowed us to get at this information. So there's like a flow runs, flows, flow run errors table. They're all joined together. And if you look closely at the bottom, I've filtered this query to grab errors for the last hour. So the idea being that we can run this query every hour for the last hour, and then send that information to our custom service to process. So with that, here's an example of what a message looks like. So, hello, Albert, you're receiving this email because this flow failed at X time. Something that we were able to get was additional details about the error. And so under this framework, we were able to provide additional error details, depending on what information that we could find from data in a repository or logs. And then we provide a link to the flow itself. Okay, so with that, let's review the overall architecture that was updated to support this custom flow. So we have a Tableau server sending events to our Flask service. We have a custom script sending custom events to our Flask service. And then we have user settings getting saved. And so our service takes all that information, processes these events when they get them, and then forwards, and then handles message based on our settings. So we forward them to the appropriate subscribers of these messages. So one thing that we noticed when we took a look at this architecture was that there could potentially be some overlap between what we could do with our custom scripting and the Tableau server webhooks. So there's also like background or extract failure tables, which provide details beyond what our webhook is telling us. And so with that in mind, we decided to simplify the architecture and take webhooks out in this case. So the idea also being that our custom scripting also allows us to kind of separate out the business logic from our custom service. So if you sort of remember our architecture diagram from before, it was sort of doing a lot. And so this sort of just simplifies everything. So the custom service is a little bit more robust because it's just literally handling the details of a message and processing it without all the additional business logic that was in there before. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. I think that's it for this slide. So one other minor tweak, but not insignificant, was that we gutted the custom service and replaced it with a message queue, or more precisely, a message bus, which forwarded our events to a queue, which we could attach different workers to. So what this enables us to do is, for large enterprise environments where you're expected to be able to process X messages per second, this will give you the framework to be able to scale to the demand or the workload of the messages that you're taking on. So in this case, it just makes the solution a little bit more scalable. Let me just do a quick demo right here to illustrate what's going on. So I have 3 worker processes set up. And so I'm going to send an event. All 3 are processing the events at the same time. And now I'm getting spammed. So let's take a look at one of these emails. So, this is an example of a custom message. So, and that's being sent to me as well as my team of 2, Albert Wong 4 and Albert Wong. But the idea is anyone should be able to subscribe to the events for the content that they're responsible for. So with that, I think that brings us pretty much home. And yeah, so that's where we're at right now. I did mention that we stood up a quick and dirty dashboard to be able to configure user settings. All we have left to do is create a proper CRUD UI for that, create, read, update, delete, so that so the user will have a nicer interface to be able to configure settings. It allows us to add more flexibility into the data that we can store. So maybe we want to only listen from certain dates, right? So when I'm out of office, we can provide that interface to the user to specify those settings as an example. So with that, we're at the end. My information is up here in case you need to contact me. And on behalf of Tableau Professional Services, I want to thank you for your time. All right, thank you.
Albert, there are a bunch of questions there. Okay. For those who have any additional questions, feel free to type in the QA. Albert, there are a few questions lined up for you already.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Can we message to Teams? ServiceNow tickets through webhook. Message to Teams. I'm not sure if that means Microsoft Teams or not, but this being a Python solution, we can leverage any API. I have actually looked into integrating Slack. So we're in the midst of integrating Slack with Tableau at our client side, and we do want to enable that. So I'm sure we can integrate with whatever is available through either APIs or Python libraries. Second, our VP is looking for Tableau usage details. Like how many new users signed on for the first time by month project folder dashboard. Is that data available in the event activity tables?
This actually is available in today's Postgres table already. The HTTP request table and also the historical event I use for this information is also available historical event, which is easier, smaller table, relative smaller table to get.
Yeah, so I guess the answer is yes. If you wanted to put that into a framework and get notified messages, you could have like, if you look at this slide, write your custom script to just send the messages down into the message queue. And then you would write a message handler to process that information to whoever needs to look at it. So yeah, that's something that it's a use case that could be supported here.
Yeah, Susan, if you use Tableau Cloud or Tableau Online, there is a published data source already called Insights you can get. It has used your data. If you have your own server, you can get it from, if you Google I believe it's called Server Data Sources, published on the community by Matt Kors. He has existing very nice documented table joins that you can get usage. Usage is one of those. Usage, performance, extracts, and so on. I've been leveraging that Matt Core. It's called Tableau Server. I forgot the name. Called Tableau Server Resources, Data Source, something. Tableau Server Data Source.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think
Yeah.
we'll have to find a link for Susan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you don't need this in real time, there's already like dashboards you can build for this, and you can just subscribe the normal way. Okay, so next question is from Shankar. What integration tools are available from Tableau to connect to Office products such as SharePoint and Power Apps? So we talked about the REST API. I think that's probably going to be the most relevant one. I don't know if there's like direct integration with the products themselves. Like I know some tools have like actual software add-ons that can be like put into Excel, and you can use that interface to update data sources. I'm not really aware of anything that's out of the box from Tableau, but there might be like third-party tools available because of all the APIs that we do expose to be able to make those integrations. So I believe there's a there's some kind of exchange, Tableau exchange, where apps are developed and shared with the rest of the community. Mark, do you know what the nice?
I just typed the SharePoint there. SharePoint is supported, I believe. I just give the link.
Okay.
Reply. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yep.
Can we subscribe to subscription failures too? Yes. So like I think through this framework, you can just add subscriptions into the custom script and whatever you want to cover. Will this functionality be available for other types of messages, such as when a user requests access to a project and an email sent to the project owner? Let's see, I think, so let's see the supported webhooks. So it's not in the supported webhook framework. So when users request access to the project, I'm not unclear if something is logged. If there's something that's logged, we can listen to that log and then process those messages. But that one is, that specific request, I think might be something that isn't logged into the repository, but might be like included in some lower level detail logs. So that's something I'll have to check up on. But yeah, in general, like it's a matter of like understanding what information we can listen to and process. So any data that you can find, you can send through our message bus, and then we can act on that information accordingly. All right. Is there a GitHub repo? So technically, this is property of our client, but please do get in touch with professional services, and then we can work with you to figure out what details you need, whether that be through an engagement or just kind of walking through the problem on a deeper level. Okay, Vikas, hopefully that answers your question. From Larry. Larry's question is directly to Mark, I think. So Mark, can you put the publisher's name in the chat?
Publisher's name, I guess this is Arbors. When you say publisher, Larry, do you mean Arbors? Arbor Wong?
I'll put it up on the screen. Arbor Wong.
Okay, I just have Arbor Wong. Arbor, you may want to just answer your the email.
Okay. Okay, next question then. Yiping, can the webhook event trigger support tickets such as ServiceNow, Jira, for instance, down events, etc.? I think it's, well, so if these tickets are, I guess, automatically generated by Tableau, I don't know if like that's your scenario. But if you look back at the flow, Tableau server will be in charge of sending the webhooks. For other tools, I know like Okta, like most enterprise tools will have a way to send webhooks and register a custom service. So those will work exactly the same way. I'm not that familiar with ServiceNow or Jira, but I suspect that you can attach a custom service to those tools to listen to specific events. And then Larry is clarifying his question. Mark, what I am referring to is the publisher of the shared data sources.
Oh, I see, Larry. That is Matt Core. Okay. Matt Course. He is a Tableau employee. Yeah, he used to manage Tableau server for Tableau. I believe right now he's working on the server management add-on features. And he's great server admin.
Cool. Matt Course.
Any other questions, anyone? By the way, for the webhooks, only one thing if you're not aware yet, the webhooks is only available for admins. I believe site or server admins. It's not available for regular creator publishers.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying. So yeah, I think we've gone through all the questions. If anyone wants to, like, we still have some time. So if anyone wants to clarify a question that they asked and maybe was, we can give you guys a few minutes to follow up. Otherwise, okay, so Fee Rose raised a hand. So maybe we can wait for his question to come in.
All right, if no more question, we'll give everyone 20 minutes back. How about that? Thank you so much, Albert, for your time. I know there are a couple of questions about caching, especially with the Tableau server, the view acceleration, accelerator feature. I'll dive into that next month. Also together with a few other new features. You raise hands. I don't know if I can make everyone talk, unfortunately. I
Yeah,
may have a challenge, unfortunately,
he
with
was
that.
said he raised his hand on accident, but I think someone else just raised their hand. So I don't know if they're having trouble.
I don't know. I don't know how do I
Chat
do
is.
that.
Well, if we can't figure that out, my email again is albert.wong@tableau.com. Be happy to answer any follow-up questions there. And okay, so there's one thing in the chat from Shiona Morgan. I missed the part about how the events are triggered. Are they real time or every hour? Okay, so let me pull up my screen again. Events from Tableau server. Mark, I think, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Events from Tableau server are sent in real time. If you do something custom, like through a custom script, then you schedule that through either cron or Airflow or some kind of orchestration tool. And so the custom scripting can be near real time, but they won't be like to the millisecond. If you need that level of latency, then you would just plug the solution back into the webhook solution. Okay. Hopefully that answers that.
Okay, David has question around WDC from the survey software, Qualtrics. I do use that. They do have a WDC. Okay, however, you may have to buy a license for WDC. I don't know for sure. I know there are some license situation. They may give a few licenses to admins only by default. And then if you want your publishers to use their WDC, you may have to buy license or something. Figure out with your account manager from the service software to understand the license situation to use the WDC. Technically, they do have a WDC and it works. We've been using that for 2-3 years, for a long time. WDC works for the survey company Qualtrics. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. I'll talk with you more later. All right. Thank you, Albert.
All right. Thank you for having me, Mark.
David, you have a reply saying it doesn't work for server. It does work for server. It's been working on my server for the last 2-3 years. Okay. There is something you may have to whitelist on your server to allow the connection something. Okay. There is a connectivity you need to figure out, and then not necessarily you need to figure out the true IP address or the name you need to open up a proxy up for server to connect to, for your server to be able to reach out to the service software Qualtrics WDC. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.